Hi and welcome to An Average Joe Outdoors. In this episode I'd like to show you my new purchase. It's a water filter. Pretty essential bit of kit especially when you are camping, and going a little bit into the reasons why I had to upgrade and why my old filter's in the bin. And then there's going to be an unboxing and a quick demo as well. So I hope you enjoy this video, and let's get to it. So before I get into the unboxing and the demo of the new Sawyer Mini, something that I filmed a few nights ago, I just wanted to spend a few moments just giving you some context about why I've had to throw the old one away and my previous filter away, and the hope for this new one. And just as a disclaimer, this is my opinion based on my experiences with it and my observations. I know that out there's some really positive reviews about this previous filter, and I know there are some quite negative ones as well. But this is just based on my opinion, without having an agenda either way, to be honest with you. So the filter that I'm going to talk about first is the MSR Trailshot, and I wanted to put some context into this little video. And I'm going to start by saying something really weird, which is, it's not much of a moan really. It's really, really well made piece of kit and extremely well put together. I'll get onto that later. There lies a little bit of the issue, strangely. So as I've mentioned, the Trailshot is already in the bin. I really threw my rattle out of my cot when I got back off a 3-day, 2-night wild camp on the flanks of Scafell in the English Lake District. But as with previous uses, I'd sterilised and stored the filter well. I'd prepped it by doing a safety integrity check, we call it, in the comfort of my own kitchen, taking it all apart as well, which is an interesting process, and then putting it all together, and it kind of worked okay before I set off, but I wasn't 100% happy with it. Went on this adventure, and on the first day, this is a long hike in with a relatively heavy pack. It's several hundred meters up. You haven't got a great deal of daylight hours if you're taking a lot of time to find your pitch and find your right spot. I've done a lot of prep, researching the maps beforehand, but you still have to find your level pitch on a grassy or rocky platform. Make sure it's not boggy, and that all takes time. So you get there, you're a little bit tired, sometimes a little bit fractious, and you want everything set up. You just want these things to work. So I went to filter the water. It was very, very windy. I was sat on the side of a waterfall, and it was like a wind tunnel. So I had this filter, and I'll put pictures up whilst I'm describing this, and I've got some instructions and schematics here. And there's a tube that dangles in the water, and you've got to angle the filter at the right angle, and it's like an inflatable bulb that you squeeze, and then when you let go, it draws the water up into the bulb, and then it releases, in theory, releases water into, in my case, an empty flask and a hydration pack. And then I've got 3 litres to take back to the tent, which is about 200 metres away. So you're not having to go backwards and forwards after every drink. So yeah, I did this, and it started to fail quite quickly. It was really, really difficult to keep squeezing this. After a few minutes, it gets a bit samey. You have to squeeze constantly with your hands. All right, doing it in the kitchen when everything's working. When your hands are cold and you're on the side of a mountain and it's blowing a gale and it's raining at times, yeah, it's not always the best. So I think that's a bit of an issue to start off with. But yeah, it started to fail. But I eventually, after about 20 minutes, got 3 litres of water. Fast flowing water. I always try to camp near fast flowing water because there's less sediment. It's crashy, natural filter, if you like. But if I can, I try to take it off fast flowing water and take it back. So that 3 litres of water did me for my freeze-dried meal. It's half a litre water, and then you've got a couple of drinks of tea, coffee, that's 400 litres each, and then you've got your drinking water, and it soon you soon get through water. I calculated that I could get through 7 litres of water in a 24-hour period on the hill. So water is your most essential commodity, if you like. It's just critical that you need fresh, clean water when you're sustaining yourself on a mountain or out on the trails, wherever you are. So the next day, I managed to use this filter again, but again, it's getting a bit slower. And you've got to take the tube off to back flush it. This tube is like stretch wrapped on. I've seen videos of other people taking these things apart very easily. When I say it's very well put together, you needed a blunt blade to get the end filter cap off, pre-filter cap, if you like. And you had to really warm the tube up to get that off. So that wasn't easy at all. I got back the next evening and I met my cousin who was wild camping on a different side and coming in a different route, but we met up and had on the second night. That's when the filter stopped working. Now, I'm going to put up a schematic of this filter. So I'm taking all of these bits apart. And again, it's okay in the kitchen when everything's laid out, but doing it on a very windy mountain and you're next to a waterfall and you've laid all the parts out and all blowing over and you've got to turn filters around to back flush it and things like that. It was hard enough taking it apart with cold hands and putting it back together again, but I spent nearly an hour getting my next couple of litres of water and it just wasn't good. So I borrowed my cousin's Sawyer, and it just worked. I mean, he'd filtered his water in a couple of minutes. So yeah, that was an interesting one, and lucky he was there for the second night, else I would have had to bail. It's very tempting to drink out of running streams and running water and tarns and things like that, but I certainly wouldn't recommend it, because you're really risking being very, very poorly with contaminated water. So what I just wanted to show you, there's a diagram, and I've added writing to this, is the schematic of this MSR Trailshot and the labels. I'm hoping that's in focus. And I think here lies the problem. It's extremely well engineered, but possibly over engineered. There's 13 different parts which the consumer or the end user are actively encouraged to interact with. And again, look, that's all right in a warm kitchen. If something goes wrong, then you've got to know, you've got to remember what you're doing with that lot and hope you don't lose any parts. Now, I'm not one of these who moans about filters getting clogged up, because that means the filtering. I try to get faster flowing water so there's less chance of that happening quickly. But if you're filtering from a tarn or a lock and there's a lot of sediment around, it's going to filter pretty quickly, but it's doing its job. It's, you know, if you complain about that, it's as daft as complaining that your vacuum cleaners, you've got to empty the bags every 2 minutes because it's lifting all the dirt off your carpet. You know, that's what it's there to do. So the most important part of this is that you can clean that filter very quickly and very easily on the mountain or on the trails or where you haven't got the luxury of your vehicle nearby or your house or something like that, and you can do it with, even if your hands are cold, because that will put you in a very, very tricky situation if you can't get fresh running water. And I'll include some of the instructions that they include where you have to, the process of back flushing, but also the safety integrity check. And I think for me it was too convoluted, and it didn't work. You know, when the bulb out which you squeeze, the main filter inside, when you squeezed it, let go, and once that seal's broken, I couldn't get it back in again as good as it was before. So if it starts to affect the way it works after getting dirty and you can't clean it out, then there's a reliability issue there for me. Anyway, that's enough of me prattling on. I'd be very interested to hear constructively, if you agree or disagree, what your experiences have been, both for and against, and see if you've suffered the same problem. But this leads me on to the purchase of the Sawyer, because it looks a much more simple device. I just want to go and it works. Gets dirty, back flush it, put it back together, you're gone again. You know, you're out and enjoying yourself and being safe while you're doing it. So, right, let's get on with the video and the unboxing and the demo. So here we are with an unboxing of my latest purchase, the Sawyer mini water filtration system. Just as a disclaimer, this is not a paid promotion. I paid this through my own hard-earned cash. The reason that I bought this is because I knew of the reputation of them being good quality, very reliable and very light, and actually simple to use, but reliable. It says up there there's 100,000 gallons it's rated up to. That's the actual size of the unit. There are just 4 parts. There is the filter, the cleaning plunger, a syringe type thing to flush it out, a drinking straw, and a 16-ounce pouch. I don't know what that's in litres, but probably something like half a litre pouch. It's got a removal rate of bacteria and protozoa, removes 99.999% of bacteria, salmonella, cholera, and E. coli, and 99.999% of protozoa. So it's long lasting, 3 times tested every unit, and its protected fibres are fully encased and sealed for protection. You can either squeeze it directly through the filter, through the bag, filter it into a bottle, drink it out of a bottle after you scooped it up out of a river or a stream, and also you can have it in line on your hydration pack. So let's get into it. Put some handles. There we go. So Inside we have the syringe for plunging, rinsing the filter out. Don't quite know how that works yet. This is the filter itself. Very, very handy size, extremely light. A little top on there, cover for it as well. Tells you which way the flow goes, so your nozzle goes on the end of there. But it also screws onto the bag as well. There's a thread inside there that screws onto the bag inside. That's the bag. It's only a little thing, but big enough. So that's the bag that comes with it. It's actually better quality than it might feel at first touch. My cousin that I was on the mountain with, I borrowed his, and he's been using his for quite a few years. So, and it's still working. It hasn't leaked. So there's that. There's that. There's that. And finally, there's the straw. Drinking straw. Hope I've got all that in shot. And there's another little top there. That's probably for the. Yeah, probably for the bottle. So I have a very high-tech old-fashioned scale just there. I'm going to put the filter in, which comes out around about, each increment on the grams is 25, so that's around about 25, probably 30 grams for that. The bag is, oh sorry, for our American friends, that's an ounce, and the bag is less than an ounce and about 20 grams. So in total, what you're taking with you, even if you take the straw, I'll leave the straw out, but the bag that's up here, there, and the filter is in that little container there, and that's totaling 75, about 80 grams, 1, 2, 3 ounces. So it's extremely light. It's a lot lighter than the Trailshot. Right, for the purposes of this quick demonstration, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this video. I'm going to show you just one of the ways that you can use this. As I've mentioned, you can either drink straight from, put the filter on the end of the bag, drink straight from there, put it into a bottle, use a straw to drink it on a hydration pack. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to decant some water from there into a flask. I do take an empty flask with me, and take that and my hydration pack down to, or bladder down to the river or waterfall, so I can get 2 or 3 litres of water to take back to the tent, which is usually a couple of 100 metres away, if that, and then it's there for cooking, hot water for brews, and drinking water as well, or cordial. So for convenience, if you can use your imagination and just imagine you've dangled that under some running water in a waterfall. You know, it's recommended to go for some fast flowing water, so there's been some natural filtration anyway, and try to avoid standing water, which has possibly been there for quite some time. You don't want that to be stagnant. So so I part filled that from the tap, but just pretend that I've been dunking that underwater, or you know, filling it from a waterfall. So you get this filter there, and in here it's got a thread on the inside, so it's very easy. So you screw that into there, give it a good nip up. Then here, if you can see that, I decant into the water, and you're squeezing the bag from the top, if you can. I don't know whether you can see that, possibly not. Try and bring it closer, and you can either let it run through gravity. It's running through really quite quickly now. This is a 0.7 litre flask. Oops, I'm getting it all over my desk. But I'm also trying to look through the monitor. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Should have just looked at what I was doing. And that's filtered already. Get a few refills, and you can have 2 or 3 litres in a few minutes of safe drinking water. Okay. Now, yet again, for quick demonstration purposes, if you sat on a rock by a river, you can hurry up the process. I'll try and get it all in shot this time. And squeeze the bag. It filters really quickly. You could do a litre of water in less than a minute, I'm sure. Oops. What you do to hurry up the process, if you look at the top of the bag, you can hold it and squeeze it through faster. And you see how quickly that's filtering. It's very quick and easy compared to my MSR Trailshot, which is now in the bin. I think, yeah, look at that. It's simplicity itself. This is something you cannot mess around with on a hill, on a mountain. You know, you've had a hard climb up, long walk in, or you've had it down the mountains. You get to camp. It can be cold and raining. You want to be able to gather water. Imagine you've got a bladder as well. Set back to your tent. You want to do that quickly. You only want to spend a few minutes on it. You don't want to spend between 30 minutes and 60 minutes like I was doing. Very cold, and the hands are very cold. So that's it. Yeah. So that's just a quick demo. Very light, very simple, very few components. And yeah, I'm looking forward to, and I hope I can show you it when on a mountain and actually gathering the water for real. So that's nearly a flask full already. So that's just about it for this video. I just wanted to end it by saying I'm not beating up on MSR here. I've had quite a few MSR bits and I've been very happy with them. Fantastically well made bit of kit, even if they're dear. I've had an MSR Zoid for many years. I did have an MSR Zoid for many years. I used in the Highlands of Scotland quite a bit. I've used an MSR reactor stove, which was bloody amazing. Not very controllable, but either it's off or it's thermonuclear, if you've ever seen the MSR reactor stoves. And I still use, after 12 years, an MSR Superfly. So fantastic bit of kit. But they're all quite easy, especially my stove, quite easy to repair if things go wrong when you're out there. If there's a bit of grit or the stove stops working, it's only done it once. Unscrew it, unscrew the nut, clean it out with a bit of brush, put it back together, done. Never let me down. So I just wanted to put that out there. So it's just this Trailshot didn't work for me. It wasn't sort of repairable, maintainable, quick enough on the hill. That's the summary. Anyway, I'm very keen to hear your thoughts on your experiences with water filters. The Trailshot, the Sawyer Mini
don't forget I haven't used the Sawyer Mini myself yet out on the hills, so you know, there's a test coming there, and it still needs to prove its worth with me, so we'll soon find out. Okay, well, thanks very much, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, cheers.